When the little things are missed, they erode at the foundation of trust that you have with people. So let's not do that, shall we? Not? As a father of 3 little humanoids, I have to remember to do things, and I've built some philosophies over time that help me do that. I am absolutely not perfect. I have an ADHD brain, which can complicate things, but I've learned a couple of things which might be helpful, and apps have to do with that. In parenting, there must be flexibility. A very strict approach to the day will likely be a frustrating approach to the day because the kids didn't sign up for that approach. Kids are flexible creatures. They come with a lot of variability, and that asks for a flexible approach when it comes to work, family, personal. But I think what's important is that there is flexibility with structure, but also with fail-safes. Still working on the structure part. What I mean by fail-safes is that something doesn't completely get lost in the void. If there's something important that needs to be done, it's not completely forgotten. For me, one of the high reasons why this is important to me is so that I can be a trustworthy person to my family. A trustworthy father, a trustworthy husband, and a trustworthy worker guy. So one thing I've learned is that habits help tremendously. In the ADHD brain, the executive functioning part of the brain is inhibited and struggles. But a part of the brain that is not inhibited and does not struggle is the part of the brain that is responsible for habits. These brain parts have names. I can't remember them. Prefrontal cortex, ganglia, frontal lobe, executive function, something back here or here, habits. So good habits are important for anyone, but for somebody with ADHD, habits are especially important because they are the thing that you can lean on to keep your life from falling into calamity, because your executive function is, you're going to struggle a lot more in that domain. And good habits, once established, are automatic. This is going to naturally help you not forget to do important things. Now, what's also important is a good reminders app and a simple but effective approach to using said reminders app. Willingness to put things into it very quickly and find all the areas in your life where the reminders are necessary. I tend to use the Apple Reminders app to create one-off reminders throughout the day. And a lot of times I'm speaking to my watch. I'll tell my watch to remind me to move the clothes from the washing machine to the dryer in 2 hours. And it reminds me, and then if I realize at that point when I'm reminded that I can't do it right then, I'm going to snooze it. I'm going to tell it, remind me in another hour or so. And this is what I'm talking about when I say allowing for flexibility while still having fail-safes. The flexibility is I'm in the middle of doing some other task. There's a blowout or something's going on with something I'm working on for the work domain of my life or the personal domain. And I go, okay, this can wait a little bit, but I don't need to forget it. So I'm going to tell her to remind me in an hour. That's the fail-safe. Without that being present, I'm going to forget, and then I'm going to realize the next day, once again, that the clothes need to be moved. But by that point, I probably should wash them again and do the whole cycle over. So one of the things I like about this approach is it's extremely easy to get the information in, and then it operates in the background for you. And then you can stop thinking about it. You can go on with your day. Very good. You're now a more trustworthy person, assuming you move the clothes. Now, me and my wife have a couple of shared lists together. One is a grocery list. So whenever we need something in the house, I can add it to the grocery list. The Apple Reminders has this auto sorting function where if you say I want almond milk, it's going to put it into the specific section. If you say I want coffee, it's going to put it into a specific section automatically for you. It's very nice. But that's good. Once again, very low friction. The information is there. We can retrieve it when we need it. We're not trying to figure out at the moment of getting groceries or on the way to get groceries what sorts of random things we might need to grab around for the house. This is good. This eliminates calamity. Calamity. Green tea. antioxidants. There are versions of this you can do in any app that reminds you of things, but this is just the way that I like to approach it. Okay, and then we have this other app, which I've spoken about before on this channel, called Due, D-U-E. And you could set up the system that I'm about to talk about. It's barely a system, really. It's very simple. In the Reminders app, if you wanted to. But Due has a very simple, elegant user interface, user experience, which allows you to do certain things very easily. And you end up with a nice, simple, elegant solution. And I like apps that do that, and I'm absolutely happy to pay for apps that do that. A primary way that I use Due is for repeated reminders. So I will enter in whatever thing I want to be reminded of, let's say every day, and you click the button, remind me daily at this time. And it will do that. Then it pops up, you can swipe to complete it, which will push it to the next day. It'll come back the next day for you automatically. Or you can say, oh, remind me again in an hour or 3 hours or so. So what I've ended up with is this list of, say, 10-ish items at this point of things that repeat on intervals. And I know that they're going to bug me whenever I need to do those things. And I can, when it comes back around, I can swipe it, I can, push it off or whatever. But it's not going to let the things fall away into the void. Calamity. I have one, for example, that reminds me to take out the trash every Thursday evening because the garbage truck comes on Friday morning. That one's a very important one. And when it pops up on my screen, I go, what am I doing with this? Okay, I can't do this right now, but I can do this very soon. Okay, I'm going to snooze it for 1 hour. And I will snooze it until I have completed the task. And once the task is completed, I will complete it, and then it will push to the next Thursday, and we're all set. So rarely do I end up missing something really important, and if I do, I know about it. So if you notice, very little of what I've been talking about has anything to do with organizing anything into lists or doing a lot of input to create the system that I'm trying to create. When I create my reminders, most of them go into my inbox. Now, you may have a different way that you would like to approach this, but for me, that works perfectly fine because a lot of these reminders, I just need them to exist and remind me when I need to be reminded, and I can check them off. Sometimes they'll stack up in my inbox and I can, check them off. It's very straightforward. It's something that's so easy to maintain because you don't really even have to maintain it. You just have to have the habit of creating the reminder. So that's reminders. Another thing that has been very helpful for me that I've been utilizing recently is checklists. There are a couple of problems that happen to me. One is if I'm trying to do a sequence of daily tasks that have to be done, let's say in the morning, my brain will go into this, what I call the cloud of calamity. And this is a place where I know I have various things to do, but I feel kind of stuck and I don't really start anywhere and I can miss things that need to be done. So I've created, for example, a morning checklist for myself. So when the cloud of calamity is surrounding me, I can look at this checklist and see what things need to be done. What things have I done so far? What things still need to be done? Highly recommended. And once again, keep it simple. Make it be something that you can easily reference, and that's a good thing. Now, funny enough, I actually use a completely different app for all of my tasks, generally speaking, and that's Things. I like Things a lot. This may be an overcomplication that can cause problems. Like, should I put everything just in reminders? I really like Things. It's a very elegant, beautiful app. I like using it. It works really well for me. Reminders tends to have a specific function or a couple of functions in my life. Due has a specific couple of functions in my life. And then Things is where I feel like I can just, vomit all of the stuff in my life that I need to that I need to keep in lists so that I can do them when it's time to do them. Quick addition that I thought would be fitting, Things actually has a deadline option, and this is separate from the date/time/reminder chooser. This allows you to set a deadline for a given task. That allows you to separate the time that you want to work on the thing from the thing's deadline. And so I could set a deadline for 2 days from now, and you can treat this as a hard deadline. Great idea. But you can also treat it as a soft deadline if the task allows. That moves. It allows you to aim for something, but be flexible and have a fail-safe for your task. Events, the way that I tend to treat events in my life, these are things that are like appointments. These are things that are happening, and I have to be at those things at the time when they happen. Sometimes I fiddle around with time blocking, but once again, a parenting lifestyle asks for a lot of flexibility, and so those time blocks have to have some flexibility within them. And there are, I think, ways to do that, but I very much struggle with creating a set of events for the day, a schedule for the day, and sticking to that schedule. I've never been good at that. For me, it's more about, okay, what are the few things today that are most important that I get done, and let me work on those things. I've also been tracking my time. That is a big deal, but I won't get into that much on this video. Tracking time, though, is a fantastic way to understand what you're doing with your time and having time awareness. So with all of that said, those are a couple of things that help me stay out of the cloud of calamity, or even find ways to make things better when I am in the cloud of calamity. I'm not here to tell you that this is a perfect system, but this is a simple system that has helped me a lot. I would be curious to know how you guys like to approach these things. But that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Love your neighbor, dream big, don't forget to drink water. Look out for bed frame legs, they hurt when your toes hit them. God bless, love you, goodbye.